School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we're going to be talking about gardening. It is a live program, so if there's some things you'd like to talk about that's on your mind, maybe you want to settle an argument or at least get a second opinion or third opinion. That's what we're here for. We're going to keep it Mississippi and anybody else who thinks like they're gardening in the South. So no matter where you are, we welcome you. If you want to talk about gardening, give us a call. It's going to be a toll-free number, 1-888-888 Java. What's the numbers?
Oh, man.
Good morning, Java. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Felder. I'm doing fine. Ready to get the 2-hour garden party
for some reason.
Ready to get the 2-hour garden party underway.
Let me see. Audio. There, say something to me, Java.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, there we go.
I pushed it. You know, I'm really bad about buttons, even though we're live and I'm broadcasting remote. These buttons kind of mess me up. Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. And if we want to know how some of our listeners are doing, they can call in. Their phone number, Felder, write it down, 1-877.
I've got it written down right here.
MPB ring, 1-877-672-7464.
You know, it's not like I haven't been doing this with y'all for 20-something years, Java, but, you know, I've always had kind of number dyslexia. I can barely, the only way I know my Social Security number, because I stenciled it on everything when I was in the Navy. But other than that, I'm a mess. Anyway, we want to welcome everybody. We call this program the Gestalt Gardener. It's what I call a garden gallimaufry. A gallimaufry is like a confused jumble, a medley of things. And as my Aunt Mamie used to say, thems that can grow will grow. So for the next hour, if you got some things on your mind that's garden related, give us a call. Actually, the next 2 hours, I keep forgetting, Java, we're doing 2 hours now.
Yeah, we got a lot of great response for being 2 hours, and we were able to, answer a lot of more phone calls. So hopefully we won't, tell people we have to catch you next week. We actually have more time to talk to more people.
Yeah, and I can also relax a little bit more. I don't feel like I'm real rushed. So anyway, there's a lot of things going on, Java, and I've got some things I like to show. So if anybody who's listening wants to go to YouTube, we're live on YouTube, but it's also podcast. You can watch this either on YouTube or Mississippi Public Broadcasting, either the websites. If you go there and click on Gestalt Gardener, you can see the stuff that Java and I are going to be talking about. You might even see this little wintry background I've got here because I'm broadcasting from northern England, and yes, it's snowing. It's snowing outside, but we're all toasted. Hey, Java, at least the beer is warm over here.
Now, see, there you go with that pub talk.
Yeah, there you go. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about, some things you can be doing. In the second hour in particular, I'm going to talk about some interesting winter foliage. Let me start out about mentioning the first, Java. Right now, one of the most interesting plants that's in bloom in the deep south in the middle of the winter in January is called Mahonia. And we've got a picture of it. They want to put up picture number 1. Mahonia is an old-fashioned shrub. It's been around a long time. It actually has some native relatives from the Pacific Northwest, but it looks like a holly. Matter of fact, it's called Oregon grape holly because it has what looks like grapes, but it's got a holly-looking, real stickery leaves. But it always blooms in January with these spikes of brilliant yellow flowers. Mahonia is a great plant if you're looking for a little winter color and you've got a shaded garden because it doesn't really like hot sun. So anyway, just want to mention if you want something in bloom, in January. Plan ahead next year to have some Mahonia in it. Also, if we throw up picture number 2, this is the thing we're going to talk about the next hour. This is talking about color, foliage color and texture in the wintertime. This is a combination of just leaves, foliage of different kinds of plants that look good in the middle of the winter. So a lot of people last fall, Java, they're saying, "Oh, I can't wait till spring, winter, I'm just so depressed." There's lots of stuff we can have in the southern garden for color and texture, flowers and foliage, berries this time of year. We have it easy gardening here in the wintertime. So we'll talk about that. And Java, before we get on to anything else, let me mention something I did this past week. I went to a show in a cathedral in a place called Blackburn. I'm in northern England, Blackburn, England. A lot of people, the only time they ever heard of it is an old Beatles song. Now we know how many holes there are. No, how many, counting the holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. Anyway, that's near me. But they had a display of people who knit things, and they had garden knitting display. And I want to put up picture number 3. This is the picture of a gardener who knit just out of wool and cotton in a little garden. The flowers are knit, everything. But they have knitting clubs, and they get together and do all sorts of things. But I thought interesting to have garden knitting for people who really don't have much to do this time of year. Get you some needles and let's get to it. So anyway, Java, how's it going with you?
Man, it's going okay, man. We're getting ready for some cold temperatures. We were talking a little bit before the show. We do have some freezing, some below freezing low temperatures coming up over the next couple of days. And so we just got to prepare for that. And like you always say, you don't need to just throw the sheet over your plants. But if you want to cover them up, you need to try to keep that soil warm.
Right.
Go ahead.
And this time of year, a lot, of course, lower 20s, that's cold to us, but it's not devastating to most garden plants. Most of our garden plants can easily take it down into the mid to lower teens. Most of our garden plants are perfectly hardy, including a lot of flowers you may be worried about, like some of the early daffodils and things like that. They can take the cold. They've been taking it for a long, long time. But if there's something particularly valuable you want to cover, like Java says, covered all the way to the ground. Hey, by the way, Java, last week we mentioned something. You said you took your family down to New Orleans to the aquarium down there.
Yeah, the aquarium and the insectarium.
Yeah, well, I asked you if you saw the Madagascar hissing roaches. I don't know if you even noticed those or not. But I've got a picture here of one that I used to have. I used to grow Madagascar hissing roaches in a terrarium indoors.
Oh, that's an ugly thing on the YouTube. That's why you have to be on the YouTube, because this Madagascar hissing cockroach is
thing
big.
Is the size of I'll give you an idea how big it is. Let's put up picture number 4. This is my sweetheart Susan holding one. Look how big that is. It's the size of a tamale.
Yeah, that is a big, and I have to give a shout out to, I'll go ahead and admittedly say, my favorite teacher in the world, Miss Portia Powell, because when we were in middle school in her science class, she had Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and we used to take them out of the little cage or whatever, and you tap them on the back of the butt, so to speak, and they'll do a little hiss. So shout out to Miss Powell this morning.
I'm gonna get into the deep dive of horticulture next thing, but you know how they make that hiss? This is a stupid thing, but you know how they make that hiss?
No, I don't.
Insects don't have lungs and stuff. They breathe through like holes in their sides. They're called spiracles, just like air vents, like cooling vents, like an old Volkswagen, air cooled. And they have these holes in their side called spiracles. And Madagascar hissing roaches, just like possums play death and scare, they blow air out of their spiracles and make that hissing sound. That's where that old expression, blow it out of your spiracles. That's where that came from. I guess it's an inside joke. But I did want to show one other thing and encourage folks to give us a call because it's a live program. But picture number 5, this is a roach that if I had to, it sounds really weird. I didn't know it was going to grow up to be this way, but I have a favorite roach. And it's in Mississippi gardens. It's called the 5-banded field roach. It's 5 pale-banded field roach. is tiny. It's not even the size of the last joint of my finger. Little bitty thing. They move fast. They do not live inside. They cannot live inside. And you find them typically out in tall grasses or under logs and things like that. They eat decaying organic matter, but they're black. They got a bright red thorax and a really pretty yellow stripe all the way around. Anyway, it's just one of those kind of things. People don't think about roaches as being other than the vermin we don't want in our house. But between the Madagascar hissing roach, which you can grow in a terrarium, that you feed them dry cat food, you take some upside down styrofoam egg cartons that they live under. It's just a cool little thing, especially if you've got kids. But anyway, I just want to throw that out. Nobody asked me with this, Java, so I'm throwing it out anyway.
Well, I'm glad you're throwing it out because it did spark a couple questions in my mind. But it is time for our first break. So 1-877-MPB-RING, 1-877-672-7464 is the phone number. And I'll play the break music. And Felder, take us to break. We'll come back with more after this.
All righty. We're talking about gardening every week here at MPB, and it's a 2-hour program. And again, if you're listening on your computer or on the radio, you can go online, go to mpb.org, or else you can
mpbonline.org.
mpbonline.org, or go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener, and you can see all this stuff that we're talking about. We'll be right back after this.
Want to keep up with it?
The others that you hated, they want about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And we've got 2 hours to talk about gardening. In the second hour, I'm going to talk about some pretty interesting things. I think some timely things about how you can have a really interesting garden even without flowers in the wintertime. Would like to mention an event. So far, folks have not been sending notices of any events, but we'd be really had to promote garden-related events in the state. But in a couple of weeks, on January the 30th, the 31st, and February the 1st, the Gulf Coast Orchid Society is having its show and sale. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It'll be at the Gaucher Convention Center. Lots more information, but if you just go online and just type in Gulf Coast Orchid Society, they've got all sorts of really interesting stuff going on, and it's free Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the end of this month. And again, if you have anything you'd like to help us promote, we'll be real happy to, because this is sort of like a garden party. We're all part of the same team. Let's help each other out here. But Java, I did want to mention also that I talked about the Mahonia blooming earlier. Right now, there's a lot of stuff blooming in most Mississippi gardens. We got paper whites. They're real fragrant type of narcissus called paper whites. Some early jonquils with the little skinny leaves. Well, we'll be showing those a little bit more. But last week, let me pick this up here. Last week, I talked about forcing bulbs to grow in water. Can you see that okay, Java?
Yeah, because is that the one you put a little gin in?
Yeah. No, I didn't get around to it. I'll talk about adding gin to your water, but I ain't using it for that.
Okay.
Or whatever. I just want to show that last week it was just a bulb, but look at it this week. I've actually got a flower on it.
And that's why you always suggest those for kids, because it comes fairly quickly.
Yeah, but now notice how long and tall it is. If I'd have put a little alcohol in the water, it'd be blooming at about 6 inches high. So anyway, there's that little trick. It's an interesting trick, and I'll be glad to talk about it with anybody. Let me put this way over there. If you want to just have a little bit of fun. It's really based on horticulture science. A guy from Cornell University came up with it. We also have several plants in bloom, including hellebores. And we'll talk about that next, but hellebores, early Carolina jessamine, what some people call yellow jasmine. It's a native vine called jessamine. Dandelions are starting to bloom in Mississippi garden. The camellias are still blooming. Probably a little bit early, the flowering quince. So we can have flowers in January across the Gulf South, the lower and the Gulf South. No problem at all. If you want to, you can do it. We don't have any callers yet, do we?
Yeah, we actually do have a few calls, and I want to encourage people because one YouTube question came through. You can also leave questions on the live stream. So if you can't catch us on the phone, you can catch us on the live stream, leave a question in the chat, and we'll get to you.
Who we got now, though?
Yeah, well, let's go to Neshoba County. Let's talk with Bill. Bill wants to join the show.
Good morning, Bill. How you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. And you?
Good. You getting ready for the cold?
Oh, man. Been out walking the dog.
That's right.
If you're facing away from the wind, it's okay. Turning to the wind, it's nasty.
Yeah, I actually have a basil plant. I set it in the window so it get light, and I closed the curtains to conserve heat, and it almost froze just in between the curtain and the window. So if you got plants in the window, pull them back. Anyway, what you got going on this week? What's up?
Okay, I was looking at YouTube the other day, and they had a story about stone pine, and they looked really interesting, and I was just wondering if you could grow them here in Mississippi.
You know, I'm gonna have to Google that one real quick because I don't remember. I've heard of stone pine, but for some reason it just doesn't ring a bell. Just real quick, Italian stone pine. It may freeze here in the wintertime. I just don't know how much cold it can take in the wintertime. So I know it's a Mediterranean plant, and we used to see a lot of it when I lived in California, down in Florida. I just don't know about central Mississippi. I have to do a little bit more research, but maybe somebody listening has grown it before. But my inclination is if it did well, because it's a beautiful plant, we see it pretty often. So my guess is it doesn't do that well. But anyway, not to say you shouldn't give it a try.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I will. I saw that you could get the little sprouts for $15. So I might get a couple and see if I can grow them.
Well, before you $15, that's $30, you know, and before you invest in it, let's do a little bit more research. There may be a reason why we don't see it for sale commonly. It may just be it's not available, but it also may be that a lot of Mediterranean plants, especially woody plants, get damaged either from sudden hard freezes or a lot of times from our heavy rains that we have in the wintertime. So I just don't know. If you want to email us, I'll be glad to do a little quick research on that. But I before you spend $30, I do dig in a little bit deeper.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Okay, Java, I got stumped. I don't mind. I don't mind not knowing something. I know how to say I don't know.
It happens. Now let's go to Steve in Gaucher.
Morning, Steve. You going to go to the orchid show in a couple of weeks?
Probably. It's just right down the road from me. But, yeah,
Okay.
Good morning, guys. I wonder if it's too early to plant, too late to plant bulbs like tulips and stuff like that. I know you got to plant them in the wintertime, it says on the instructions or whatever at the box store here. And is it too late to plant the bulbs?
Yeah, it's past the recommended time. But see, tulips, they're one shot anyway. You only get one tulip out of those, and they're not going to come back. I don't care what you try. We've been dealing with this for decades. So if you get tulips on sale, what I would do is I'd go ahead and put a few in some pots and stick them here and there and enjoy those. But things like daffodils, they're already up and sometimes blooming. So you can still plant them, but they're not going to have time to get good roots down and grow foliage and bloom and then make buds for next year. So if the kind that you want to come back year after year after year, might be a little bit late for those. If you already got them, plant them. But unless you're just going to stick a few in some pots for a little temporary color, I wouldn't invest in any long-term ones this late. They start growing their roots in September and October and start poking their leaves up in December and January. So it just might not give them enough head start before it gets hot this spring.
Yeah, daffodils the same way as the tulips now.
Well, on the Gulf Coast, there's a lot of different daffodils. I was raised in a garden where we had 350 different kinds of daffodils. I was raised that way. And of all those, there's only about maybe a dozen or so that I know you can plant on the Gulf Coast and they will come back year after year after year. Most daffodils won't do that even in Mississippi. They do better up in Michigan and colder places. But in Mississippi, there's only a couple of 3 dozen that you see over and over and over around old home sites. And there's only just really a good handful or so that do well on the coast. So if you want daffodils to come out year after year after year, we need to choose those that are really early bloomers like paper whites and jonquils. Those will always come back for decades, even on the coast, because they don't need much winter. So if you get some of those, you might be able to get some long-term out of. Otherwise, these just can be short-term things.
May I ask another question?
Sure.
I put out some perennial ryegrass in some areas and stuff like that. All stuff come up nice. I wish I would have killed some of the weeds first, but I got some wildflower seeds. Can I just broadcast that over the perennial ryegrass?
Well, this is another thing. Perennial ryegrass and wildflowers, they start sprouting in the fall. When you sowed it back in the fall, it came up pretty quick, and they have to sprout and get roots and some size on them and harden off before winter. If you've got some bare area, if the wildflowers seeds are touching real dirt, not caught up in the grass and all, then if we have a little warm spell on the coast, they might do it. But most of these spring wildflowers are best planted just like ryegrass in the fall. They don't like being planted in the middle of the winter because it's too cold for the seedlings, and then they start burning out pretty quick in April or first part of May.
All right, good. I think I saw them in a big old pot inside. Look, appreciate you guys. I'm glad you're still on air, okay?
Thank you. We appreciate your support, and thanks you so much.
Every time I can.
John.
Thank you, guys. Even your little co-pilot there.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you. We said, hey, I'll take it all the time.
Boss, y'all. He's my boss.
I don't know about that.
He's the artist. I'm the talent. That's how he put showbiz.
But seriously, Steve, I do appreciate that. I just received another message, about supporting public media. So it's a real thing. You have a lot of choices out here in this media landscape. So we really do appreciate each and every one of our people who tune in and listen and support MPB, because you do have choices and you choose MPB. So that's my little soapbox for the day.
That's okay. That's okay. We got any callers? You want me to jump into something?
No, we're actually going to do what we didn't do last week and play our cheesy tune. But before that, we have a question from YouTube, and it is I love this name, Diana Dog Lover, and she wants to know, my turnips never developed other than leafy greens last fall. Any tips?
Yeah, a couple of things. The number one reason of that with home gardeners is you plant them too thick. Commercial growers spacer seeds out. They sow them very thinly. If they're growing together, they're crowded, they're not going to make roots. They have to have elbow room. So most home gardeners sow the seeds way too thick. You can go in and thin out some of them, and actually eat the ones that you pull and leave an inch or two between what's left, and they'll make big roots. The other thing is big stems. The other thing is if you fertilize them a little bit too heavy, they have all leafy growth. So don't fertilize heavy, and make sure that they're either sown thinly or that you thin them out, and go ahead and eat the pullings in your salads. Those are the two main reasons why they don't make roots. Also, if you sowed them a little bit late, they may not have had time to really get established before it got cold, and they tend to shut down in the cold. They may not freeze, but they shut down. So the number one reason, too thick. Two reason, too much fertilizer. Number three reason is just not planting them at the best time, which is late summer for fall harvest and late winter for spring harvest.
Well, Diana, dog lover, I hope they helped you out.
Yeah, we do. We do appreciate that. And got a whole bunch of things that I'd like to recommend people doing this time of year. Like if you have spring bulbs, daffodils and tulips and stuff, this is the time to fertilize them. Fertilize them early in the growing season. Don't wait till they're done blooming to fertilize them. Go ahead and throw a little bit of bulb food or some all-purpose garden fertilizer around your bulbs right now, this time of year when they need it the most, at the early part of their growing season. So, and also this weekend, if it freezes and you got a bird bath, put a little hot water out there. Thaw the water out, because birds can't drink ice. So if you got a frozen water out there, birds would really appreciate you opening up the bird bath so they get something to drink. So anyway, what tune are we going to do, Java?
I don't know. I think we'll go with a oldie but a goodie. It's something we've played here before, but it always means the same. B.B. King, Playing with My Friends.
Playing with my friends. B.B. King from my hometown. That's all we're doing. We're just playing with our friends. We're getting together and having a good time. There's some things that are serious, and it's on your mind. Give us a call. We'll talk. I can be as serious as you want me to be, but I can also try my best to help some of you folks lighten up a little bit. So here, me and Java and all the other folks at MPB, our live stream producers. I know we got Abram and John C. and is it Marissa?
Yes, sir.
All righty. We appreciate them putting these pictures up. So go to YouTube, click on Gestalt Gardener, and you can see these pictures. Me and Java, we'll be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
it's going to be cold in Mississippi. It doesn't really get that cold. A lot of people don't realize, even though England is on the same latitude as Nova Scotia, got that warm Gulf Stream going around it, so it stays warm. They think it's really, really cold if it gets down in the 20s, and we get down to the 20s all the time. But the difference is it doesn't get up to 75 like it did last week. So Java, that's what really kicks us in the side. We have plants that can take below zero that will freeze at 25 because it's a sudden drop. That's what gets a lot of these plants. But anyway, we have any callers?
We got a few getting lined up right now. But I was just about to say that's also the same for people, man. You know, this is the season for people getting sick and in and out of work. And it's not that, you know, people are not healthy, but who was made to take 80 degrees and then 30 degrees and then 75 degrees and then 40 and 32? Like it wasn't, we weren't made for that.
In 3 days.
Yes.
Hey, while we're doing that, let me throw something out. This is kind of interesting. I got some pictures here. Getting a lot of people on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook have been sending in pictures of mushrooms, weird mushrooms and stuff. And I got picture number 7, if they could put that up. This is one of the old gnomes I've got. I've got a bunch of antique gnomes in my Mississippi garden. And this is a really cool gnome. He's got his trowel in his hand, but he's also got all these mushrooms around him. And I want to, the picture number 8, the next one, is some mushrooms growing in my garden. Every time we have a period of cool, wet nights and warm days, usually springtime in the fall, sometime in the middle of the winter, fungus is just happy, and they send up their version of a flower. In this case, these are some of the little, I think they call it honey mushrooms, I'm not sure, but they grow on old stumps and logs and rotten wood and stuff. But I in particular wanted to mention one that people have been writing about, and it's a bizarre one, Java. It is really bizarre. And let me put up picture number 9. There's a type of fungus that has these webby strands. That's the fungus, the mycelium mat, and it makes this what looks like an egg under the ground. And when weather's right, typically, again, warm days have been cool and kind of wet at night, they'll send up this thing called a stinkhorn. You almost always find this in mulch. If you use bark mulch, a lot of times you'll see stinkhorn pop up in mulch in the spring and the fall. This one is called a lattice spring. It's shaped like a lattice. You know, it's got little strands. And if you show picture number 10, the last one I'm going to show, this is what my lattice stinkhorn in my garden looked like when it opened up. And Java, can you see that
yeah,
thing?
no, because the one where it opened up, it looks like a squid or octopus or something.
Yeah.
But it also has some kind of, I want to just say juice or gel or.
Yeah, and that's where it gets its name, stinkhorn. It is, how would they say, fetitissima. It is, what? It is some kind of stank. Okay, in other words, it's called stinkhorn. A lot of them look kind of rude. Stinkhorn. Don't look up stinkhorn mushrooms if you're a little on the prudy side, because they're bizarre looking, but they're common. They grow on old decaying mulch. They do not hurt anything. They're interesting. If you don't like the way they look or like the way they smell, scoop them and toss them. Otherwise, just admire them or ignore them. But we always see mushrooms, toadstools, puffballs, stinkhorns. They tend to pop up when we have warm days while we're having cool, wet nights. So this is pretty normal. Don't freak out. Don't let the dogs eat them, and don't eat them yourself. You know, I just want to throw that out.
Yeah, just like they need to be thrown out, I guess.
Java, if I get one next year in my garden and I'm there, I'm gonna bring it. No, I won't.
But I would say, please don't bring it in.
It will fill up. It is a stank horn. I don't know any other way to put that.
Now we're waiting on calls to get lined up. We had one, but they went away. So call back 1-877 MPB ring 1-877-672-7464. But we do have a couple questions in the YouTube chat, and I actually want to shout out my wife Crystal. She's in the chat, and she has a question suggesting, what do you suggest we plant or prep now? Well, we've been talking about this, Felder, but what do you suggest we plant or prep now for spring? And then she says veggies or flowers. And I'm looking for something the kids can help with.
Yeah, a combination of vegetables, flowers, and herbs, because there's nothing. You got young children, they're not that young anymore. They're growing real quick, but they don't care as much about flowers and the kind of vegetables we grow at home as they do helping out with the meal. And if y'all can plant oregano, you can plant rosemary, you can plant. If you can find some thyme or even some parsley, those grow in cool weather and warm weather, and you can send the kids out and let them snip a little bit. Maybe give them a pot full of oregano and rosemary so they can have a little ownership. If you can make spaghetti or something, send them out and get a few sprigs of oregano to bring it back in. Pizza, some basil. But anyway, to answer your question, this is the time of year to really dig the dirt good. Add some stuff to it, dig down and bring some of that dirt up, and sort of make the bed. This is the second year. So the first year of raised bed doesn't do that well. Second year, the soil gets what we call mellow. So dig down, add some more stuff, fluff it up, get it where it's a little bit deeper, a little bit richer. And starting next month, we can start planting stuff like leafy greens, collards, broccoli, cabbage, if they eat that. You can start planting. You can still plant kale right now. I know it's not exciting, but you can grow them. But turnips and things like that. We don't plant our summer stuff until really April. A lot of people jump the gun and plant in March. A lot of stuff we can plant in February and March that'll take us into the summertime. So the main thing right now is getting that dirt dug. And Crystal, I know you work a lot with kids and other teachers and all. Sometimes get out there and digging it helps lose some steam. Maybe you're mad at Java about something. Go dig in the garden.
What would you be mad at me for?
No, okay, let's say put out. because you're a man, Java, that's why.
I get it.
But dig in the dirt right now. That's probably the best thing to do. And if you can dig down and bring some of that real dirt up, mix it with the store-bought stuff, it'll be a lot better. Really will.
Okay. Now let's we do have a couple more YouTube questions, but we're going to pause on those because we have Vicky from Ridgeland on the phone who wants to join the show.
Hey, Vicky, good morning.
Good morning.
Howdy, what's up?
My question is, when is the best time to plant climbing roses, and what's the difference between a climbing rose and a rambler?
Oh, boy, those are good questions. First of all, you can plant a rose that's in a container any day of the year, ideally in the wintertime, so they kind of get set, the roots have got settled down, the soils got settled down. So January, February, those are good times for planting stuff, any container plant. You can plant them anytime you can dig a hole. But now here's the key. Big roses are going to need big roots, and not deep, but wide. So if you can go ahead and dig a hole that's 3 feet across, that's not too wide at all, and add a little bit of stuff to it, not too much, and then cover it with mulch, that hole will be ready for whenever you get around to planting. But it's really important also, Vicki, when you pull a plant out of the pot, to loosen up the potting soil, kind of loosen up a lot of the roots, stir that into your dirt so it's not going from potting soil to your dirt. Try to mix the two together. The climbing roses.
Barefoot rose.
Yeah, that'd be fine. But just be sure to mix a little organic matter to your dirt. Not all dirt, not all organic matter, but sort of like adding 1 or 2 handful of crackers crumbled up in a bowl of chili. That's the idea we're shooting for. Climbing roses typically grow up. They don't go crazy. They typically have stronger stems. A rambling rose is just a more multiple branch climbing rose. A rambling rose, climbing rose, they're close to the same. But when I think of ramblers, I think of the ones you see growing along fence rows and spreading out and running in every different direction, sort of like my hair. Climbing rose a lot of times needs to be tied up and usually has fewer main stems. So you got any particular ones in mind?
Well, I was thinking about either putting in a pot on my patio. I guess I'm going to do a rambling rose now, maybe white or rust color.
Yeah, here's the problem with climbing roses. They tend to be big, and they'll do okay in a really big pot. I mean, a big pot. You can grow them in that, especially if you want to put some other stuff in the pot with it. Plant some flowers around the top, and maybe a cascading vine over the edge. In other words, make the pot a bouquet. But if you're going to plant a climber in a pot, it needs to be a big pot, something you can barely get maybe even something you can't quite get your arms around. That's a whole lot better approach. Keep in mind that a lot of... What's that?
Rambling rose. rambling rose on the patio.
Yeah, rambling roses are going to grow every which way. It's always going to be tugging at you when you go by. Rambling roses are, as long as you tie it up or prune anything that sticks way out, rambling roses are fine. Keep in mind that most rambling roses and most climbing roses only bloom once. Sometimes they'll put a few flowers out later, but their main show is in the springtime. So just keep that in mind. You might, if you're going to do that, put something else in with it that also blooms all summer, because otherwise they're going to be, just all leaves. There's one called Peggy Martin right now that's real popular. She is a monster. She'll wrap up an arbor, incredible bloom in the spring, a few blooms in the summer, a few in the fall. But Peggy Martin is a real popular kind of a pink one.
Okay. When is the best time? I've got one climbing rose planted now. When is the best time to, and I've had it for a year, when is the best time to trim it back?
Well, they bloom in the spring on what's out there now. So the best time to prune climbers is to, first of all, you don't have to prune them except the parts that are too big or in the way, is to wait till after they bloom. You can prune a rose up until easily the middle of the summer and they'll still bloom. But if you wait till the spring bloomers like climbers get done with their main bloom and then prune them, you won't miss all the flowers. Everything you cut this time of year, they go those flowers.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
All righty, stay warm. Appreciate your call.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Now, Felder, go ahead, Felder.
I said, I've got one more tip for anybody who's been planting bulbs. A lot of people have trouble with their bulbs because they got possums or armadillos or squirrels digging their bulbs up. I do too. So I wonder if they could put up picture number 6. The way I cover up my bulbs after I get through planting them is I just put some chicken wire over the top, and then I cover that with mulch so you don't see the chicken wire. You can also spray paint the chicken wire. But if you grow stuff in pots, and squirrels like to dig in, plant, and then cover it with chicken wire, and they can't quite get to the roots and all. But that's just an easy trick. You can spray paint the chicken wire the color of mulch, or cover it with mulch, and you won't notice as much. Just want to throw that out.
Yeah, that's a nice little tip, man. Now let's stay on the phones as we make our way closer to the end of the first hour. We're not almost there. We're not quite there. So 1-877-672-7464 if you want to join the show, like Gene in Mobile.
Morning, Gene. What's up?
Oh, it ain't much up. I got a silly question. I've been needing to call you for a long time, but I can't never think to call you. I want some information on some spider lilies. And what I had done several years back, I got the bright idea of going out to the vacant lots and digging up some and put them in the number 3 wash tub. I had 2 of them. Anyway, long story short, they didn't bloom in there at all. So I finally took them and planted them beside my driveway. And they coming up right now. Is that correct? The bushes there?
Yeah, loaded with leaves right now.
Yeah. Well, I ain't got no blooms come on them yet, but they know what's up. I got these leaves. I bypassed them with my lawnmower, and then the bushes were out there, but they hadn't come up yet.
Yeah, here's the deal with them. Daffodils and things that bloom in the springtime, their leaves come up in the fall also. They bloom in the late winter and spring. Then the leaves die down. Well, spider lilies, the red spider lilies, or the big pink ones they call naked ladies, they put up leaves in the fall just like daffodils, but they make their flower bud, and then they have a delayed bloom. They bloom in late summer or early fall after the leaves die down. So they just have a delayed blooming. Here's the key, though. They make their flower bud almost before they die down in the spring. So you need to leave them alone. Don't cut them down until they die down. Mow around them, because the last 5 or 6 weeks before the leaves die down, that's when they make their flower bud for fall. If you cut them too early, no flowers. That's the main reason they bloom. Cut the leaves too soon.
Well, if I manage to not cut them down so they run along the driveway, why I planted them along the driveway, I have no idea. But anyway, I'm going to put them in a bed. I've got stuff that comes up and down, back and forth, and it's not going to be cut by grass. So once I feel that this is really the case of flowers, then I'm going to move the things next year and put them over where they won't be bothered anymore. But maybe I can see them blooming.
Yeah, a lot of people leave them in the lawn. They just mow around the clumps. So, when they start mowing in March and April, they just mow around them until they die down. Then they just mow over where the leaves used to be. So you can actually leave them there if that's where she wants them. But the main thing, if you want to dig them, go ahead and notice where they are and wait till the leaves start to die down. You can dig them then, because then you still know where they are. That'd be the best
well, I've got me a chalk marker. I'm marking right there right next to the concrete driveway, so I can find them pretty quickly. But I thought I got the brilliant idea of putting them in 3-gallon wash buckets, tubs, whatever. And I thought, boy, that'd be pretty to have 34 of them in there. They never bloomed in there.
They will if you'll mix a little real dirt in with the potting soil. Don't just fill it up with a bag of store-bought stuff. Add some real dirt, sort of like I mentioned this on like crackers and chili. You don't want all crackers or all chili. You want to mix them together. So add a little real dirt to kind of firm your potting soil up. And then while you're at it, go ahead and plant some summer flowers in it. Get the most out of it. Plant some pansies in the fall, and the spider lilies come up through it. And then in the spring, when the leaves die down, go ahead and put you some zinnias or pepper plant or something like that in there, so you get the most out of it. Main thing is, don't mess with them until after they start to die down.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I finally figured out what I was doing wrong, but every time I did something else wrong. So anyway, I got the plants out there and I can see them, and I know that it's the right plant because one of them bloomed in the fall, had one bloom on the end of it. I said, well, I know this is the right plant, so I won't be digging up the wrong stuff. But anyway, I know where they are. It won't be no problem.
Just don't mess with them till they die down.
Okay, I'll do that in the spring of the year then. Right.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Stay.
Bye-bye.
Yes, indeed, Java. What's up, man?
No, thanks for that, Gene in Mobile. We love our Alabama brothers and sisters, our country cousins.
By the way, I've got a pun for Kevin.
Kevin's out today, but we can relay the message. And you gave you thumbs up on your last pun, so I think you're okay to give us another one.
Here's a good one. Sherlock Holmes was gardening, right? And Watson came over and said, "What you planting?" And Sherlock said, "A lemon tree, my dear Watson." He used to say elementary, Watson, a lemon tree. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's on me. It took me a little while to get that one.
Okay. Here's one. Did you hear about the guy who invented garden shears? It was cutting edge technology.
I got that one on the first try.
Okay. We got a whole hour of this, and I've got some interesting stuff to talk about. Winter foliage, how to get the most out of a landscape. Got an interesting a post on Mississippi Gardening from a lady who had 3 magnolia trees, and the middle one wasn't as big as the others. I don't know if she could prune them. And I said, why don't you just plant something else in between them and not try to make everything match? Anyway, there's some really interesting ways to make your garden a little bit more interesting ways to make it interesting. By mixing different shapes and textures of plants. We're going to talk about that in the next hour.
Now, before we get to the next hour, let's go to Amite County, and Jim wants to join the show, and this is probably our last call for the first hour.
All righty. Hey, Jim, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. I got a question. I got a bunch of acorns that are sprouted, and they've only sprouted about a week. They haven't even shown leaves yet. I'm wondering if I need to protect those from a freeze.
Okay, now I forgot. What are you from? Amite County?
Yes, right on the state line.
Yeah, it shouldn't be any problem at all. Just pile a bunch of leaves up around them. If we get a really hard cold down into the lower 20s, but oaks are used to doing this kind of thing. But I would just pile a bunch of leaves up around them and just leave them alone because they can take the weather.
I was just concerned because they just sprouted. They're only about, the little sprouts are about 3 inches tall. And I thought, freezing weather might hurt them.
Are they inside or outside?
They're outside.
Yeah, this is normal for oaks. The main thing, if we get a hard cold, hard freeze, just throw a bunch of leaves on top. They'll do fine.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the help. Thank you.
You bet. And Java, I'm holding up I mentioned Mahonia earlier.
Yeah.
This is Mahonia. I stole this from down the road. This is it's got real interesting leaves that look like a holly. They've got really bright yellow flowers. Just want to show that you can have color in the garden in the winter. Well, next hour, we're going to talk about why some plants stay brown, why the leaves stick on and stay brown. That's going to be our deep dive, our pub talk thing. But anyway, it's been interesting. I got stumped on some stuff. I got to learn about stone pine. Might look at that during the break. But if you got some things you'd like to talk about, or if there's some things we can help promote that's related to gardening, shoot us an email. Go to garden garden at mpbonline.org? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's garden at mpbonline.org. And if you're on the live stream, you can always use the live stream chat. Like, let's see, who is this? This was a great comment. Jess Gemini. I think we were talking about what was the fungus you were talking about?
Stinkhorn,
yeah. And then they mentioned also see ghost pipes this time of year. Very rare.
Ghost pipe is a strange looking thing. Matter of fact, I might be able to post a picture this next hour. Ghost pipe. Woo, that's a weird one.
Yeah. So it was that I looked it up, and it was, a part of that fungus talk. So I was like, man, we're on it this morning.
Now, he did say ghost pipe, right?
Yeah, ghost pipe.
Yeah, I took some pictures up in Lafayette County a couple of falls ago. I'll put a picture of that up for this next hour.
Okay. Well, yeah, now we're going to go ahead and get to our little break, take a breather. And if you're on YouTube, we got something special for you. So just stick around on that. But hour 2 is on the way.
On the way. All righty. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java Chapman, and all the folks here at MPB, our live stream producers. We're glad you joined us. And sit back and relax during some news, or if you're on a live stream, we got a little stuff to talk about. But otherwise, stick with us. So we're going to do hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Folks, we're still right in the middle of getting dirty. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this.
You can go.
Okay, folks, those of you who are watching on YouTube, you get a special thing that the folks who listen on radio don't have, because while they're listening to news, we're talking about whatever we want to talk about. So I want to share something. It's kind of a goofy little thing, and we've never done this before, so I thought it'd be a good time to start out something that I think would be a little amusing. You know, a lot of people know that humans have rights. Horticulturists have rules about horticulture. You got to have your soil tested. You have to prune your roses above an outward facing 5-leaflet leaf. All these rules about horticulture. You got to do this, you can't do that. Well, real gardeners, we don't have rules. We have rights. And rights don't make sense to rules. So here's a couple. We came up with what we call a gardener's Bill of Rights. These are things that gardeners have the right to do. Here's one: the right to have no grass at all, except maybe a little patch to lay on your back and watch the sky. We gardeners have the right to more potted plants than we can ever water, including a bunch that we don't know what they are anymore because they've been in the pot so long the pots are empty. Gardeners shall have the right to a compost or leaf pile in their yard. Here's a good one: a gardener shall have the right to mispronounce names. If you want to say liriope or you want to say liriope, it doesn't even matter. For that matter, I say herb because it got an H in it, and some people say, oh, it's herb. Excuse me, herb is French, herb is English. But we have the right to mispronounce. You can call it, you can call it naked ladies or magic lily or surprise lily. Doesn't matter. The horticulture call it lycoris. Anyway, how about this? The right to cultivate plants that others consider to be weeds. In other words, sort of like the right to have a poodle dog, and other people would rather have a chihuahua. You can grow plants that other people call weeds. If they don't bother you, they're not weed. A weed is any plant having to deal with an unhappy human. So if you like it, it ain't a weed. How about this? Gardeners shall have the right to plant any color flower next to any color flower, even if they clash. Had a designer one time say, pink and orange don't go together. I'm thinking, I guess he'd never seen a purple coneflower was because it's orange, a little pink thing. Anyway, how about this? A gardener has a right to display cheap statuary and homemade ornaments made from recycled materials. You could put pink flamingos in the yard if you want to. It's your garden. Here's another, and this is a contentious one with horticulturists. The gardeners shall have the right to prune or not prune their crepe myrtles. It's their plant. Crepe myrtle doesn't care any more than a poodle cares what you do to it. Poodles ain't supposed to be pruned like that. And you're not supposed to grow your hair like, you're not supposed to shave your face. Anyway, it's okay to prune crepe myrtles if you want to. Here's another one. We have the right to have dirt on our fingernails all day. Java, I gave a talk at a garden club, and I was just so proud. And I looked down, and my fingers were nasty. They were nasty. I'm thinking, okay, but I'm a gardener. We have the right to plant way more tomatoes every year than is reasonable, because, you know, some of them aren't going to live.
And Felder, you have the... Go ahead, the last one, because we got to get back to the show.
The most important one. Gardeners should have the right to as many wind chimes as we can afford. There, I said it.
All right, let's get back to the show, Felder, and we'll be back in like about 1 minute.
Okay, thank y'all for joining us on YouTube.
All right.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
you hear a knocking?
A knocking?
Yeah, the guy next door is hanging something up on his wall and is hammering like Woody Woodpecker over here.
No, no, I think we're okay.
Okay, if you can't hear it, I'm not worried about it. But listen, this is the second hour of the Gestalt Gardener, something that MPB is trying out, and we appreciate it. And Java, it's extra work on you and the live stream folks. Y'all okay with this?
Well, I can't speak for Abram and Johnsy. I don't know if they could throw me a thumbs up or something, but yeah, Abram and Johnsy, they say they're okay with it. They're okay, so we all right.
It's either that or get back to having a real job, right?
Yeah, I mean, we enjoy what we do here at MPB. It flexes those creative muscles. Other than that, it's paperwork.
Yeah. Well, I know we got some callers lined up. Before we do that, I'd like to play a little clip. When I first started with Mississippi Public Broadcasting, it's hard to believe that's been 23 years ago. I've been with MPB, and I had come over from a commercial station, and we had a caller call in, and we were only doing 1 hour, and this is just great. I've saved it. It's just an inspiration to me. So if you could play this little short clip from a call we got 23 years ago, I'd appreciate that. Go ahead and play that, Java.
Yes, sir. Now live in Rankin County, southwest Rankin, and I am a remotely removed hillbilly from northwest Alabama. And I definitely do have some ideas about this program. Well, they call it Gestalt. I'm going to have to look that one up because Felder didn't explain what Gestalt means. And I'd just like to say that we need to get this program up to at least 2 hours, maybe 3. Thank you for listening.
And I can really say we have the Gestalt Gardener up for 2 hours.
Vince Post, if you're still around, that was his call sign from Vietnam. If you're still around, we officially have 2 hours of the Gestalt Gardener.
There you go, Fence Post.
Anyway, we got callers on the line.
Yeah, we do, man. This is a good sign for our second hour.
This is what we do. Come on, bring them on.
And let's talk to OB Goody in Mobile.
OB, what's up? Is it OB or OB?
I actually remember that call.
It's been a while. It has been a while.
From that gentleman. Yes, I do. Otherwise, anyway, I have a secondary name, which is May, as in May West, behave. Okay.
There you go. There you go. What's
okay.
up?
But what's up is okay. What's going on in my garden, which is not a garden much anymore, is but I gotta say the purple plant is unbeatable. It survives. Even if it dies, it comes back up. You know the one I'm talking about, of course.
Is it like related to the wandering Jew plant?
Like a what?
Does it run? Does it have purple leaves or what?
Yes, the whole plant is purple, and some people have called it wandering Jew.
Yeah.
It's probably a relative.
It is.
Other people have called it a passion plant. Little pink flowers, totally purple plant. Anybody can't go wrong with that.
It's a good one, and it dies down in central and north Mississippi and Alabama. It's actually hardy, even up in Oklahoma, up in Huntsville, Alabama, is hardy. His Latin name is Tradescantia pallida. One of the most common folk names is called Purple Heart, and but it's just a great old timey perennial. Comes back, sun or shade, comes back every year, even though it dies down. Anyway, that's a great plant.
And it's great even on a windowsill. Like any others of the succulents that you promote, the ghost plant also is a great companion for that. The ghost plant or the chickens and hens, it's like both in the grays and the greens. But my favorite of all of that kind of thing is the purslane. And you gave those out one year as the benefit for being an MPB member. And the purslane itself, I gave one out when a young man helped me by throwing some stuff over a fence that I couldn't do. And he worked in the restaurant industry, and he was so delighted to have a pot of that plant, purslane.
And not only is it pretty and it grows in a hot sun at the crack of a sidewall, but you can eat it when you're tired of looking at it. So anyway, that's some great tips. We appreciate you sharing those.
Yeah, May Behave out in Mobile. We appreciate you joining in, and let's keep moving on these phones, and let's talk to Fletch in Pearl.
Fletch, what's up, man?
Good morning. So Felder, what time is it for you over there? Mid-afternoon?
It is 4:13 in the afternoon. I'm 6 hours ahead.
Right at pub time.
It's almost pub time. Friday night is pub time. It's nothing like doing a couple hours of work and then head for the pub. Java, join me, won't you? What's up, Fletch?
Couple hours of work. So I heard about that stone pine y'all were talking about.
Yeah.
I heard it was a favorite of Jerry Garcia, Willie Nelson, and Snoop Dogg. I need a rim shot, Java.
Next time, Fletch, I got you.
So
it went over our heads, Fletch. It went wide over our heads. But only time I've ever seen it.
What's that?
No, you go ahead.
My question for the first hour, you mentioned some Mississippi plants are I don't know if safe's the right word, but are okay down into the mid-teens with temperatures. Does that include azalea and camellias?
Oh, yeah. I was raised up in the Delta, and, it's get down to the single digits, and my great-grandmother's camellias and some azaleas still kicking. Now, if we have a real warm spell and it drops down real suddenly, it can bust the bark of some azaleas. But we have some azaleas are more cold-hardy than others. Those great big southern indicas like you see down in Mobile and all, they do great. But if up in North Mississippi, sometimes they split their bark and have to come back from the roots. But we have just tons and tons of plants that'll take anywhere in Mississippi all winter long, no problem.
And no covering required?
No, you're right around older parts of town. Nobody covers anything up in older part of town. They always got azaleas and things like that, always. Now, every now and then they lose one, but in general, you don't see people in older parts of town covering anything up. And it's just like you never see people in older parts of town, doing a whole bunch of stuff to their yard. They just mow what grows and it looks okay. So a whole lot of people tend to plant stuff that's really borderline, or they baby the plants more than they need. But when you see a plant growing in a cemetery, something that dead people can grow, I'm not going to cover it up in my yard.
All right. Thank y'all. Take care.
Okay. So, hey, good to hear from you, Fletch. See you, man.
Yeah, I got to have my rim shots ready for these on-the-fly jokes, man.
That's okay, man. What we got?
Yeah, let's stay on the phones and let's talk with Ron in Canton.
Good morning, Ron. What's going on up in Madison County?
Good morning, Felder. I wanted to ask you about where I used to live. There was a pecan grove, I guess you call it. They were planted on the plantation that was there before the Civil War and during the Civil War, and they continued bearing pecans up until about 30 years ago. And the people that bought the land, I talked to the lady, and she said that a friend of hers knows how to get them to bear pecans again. And I was just wondering if that was true or not. Could that be done?
Well, it is true. I was actually raised in a small pecan grove. We had 24 trees, and that's a lot of, in a yard. But pecan trees, they don't have, just like dogs. Dogs can live to be 14, 15, 16 years old. Most of them don't make it that long. Pecan trees peter out after a while from a combination of things. One is the soil gets worn out. A lot of times those limbs are real weak and brittle, and they under ice they crack and they get decay in there. So they're always dropping limbs. But old pecans can be reworked, but they're not that productive. It's always better to think of a pecan grove as being 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old thing rather than 68, 100 years old. There's some old pecans out there, but to keep them producing, it gets harder and harder. Anyway, to answer your question, if you can put some fertilizer out there, not up close to the trunk, but way under the outer spread of the branches and beyond, their roots are way out past the branches. If you can just scatter some fertilizer way out under the branches every 2 or 3, really every 3 or 4 years, that'll help them about as much as anything. Unfortunately, a lot of those old pecans, things like Stewart and Desirable and Owens, they've been around a long time. They're highly resistant to diseases and insects that we didn't have a lot of 100 years ago. I could get into detail, but bottom line is you find a lot of old faulty pecans and kind of they're all moldy inside. Older varieties are really susceptible to those diseases that got widespread in the past few decades. So a lot of times it's better just start off some new pecans. Anyway, a little fertilizer is about the most you can do to help an old tree.
It wouldn't work to do any kind of grafting or something like that, would it?
It would, but you're talking about a lot of expense. Getting on ladder, cutting those limbs way back, climbing up there, grafting new pecans on it. Yeah, I mean, you can. It's called top working. You can top work. I've grafted pecan trees, reworked old trees. But once you get more than 30 or 40, 50 years old, they're tired, man. They're tired. They just want to just relax. They want to go fishing. They don't want to be made to do it. Really, practical advice from a guy who is raising pecans, who works with commercial pecan growers, is to fertilize them and forget them. Let's see what happens. Seriously, that's practical information. Hello.
Well, I think you satisfied Ron on that one.
Either that or I honked him off. I don't know. But, I have a foot in two camps. Horticulture says, here's what's possible. Gardening says, here's what's practical. And I have to balance that. Horticulturally, we want to push things for production. Gardeners, we just want to enjoy life. And top grafting of a pecan tree, first of all, I'm never going to find anybody who'll do that. But basically, it's cutting off the limbs and sticking twigs of new trees on the bare stubs, letting those become a new tree.
Yeah. So
can we do that? Can we do that? Yeah, we can. But when pigs fly, it'll be practical.
You let the pig fly up there and do the thing. Let's take our first break for this second hour. We do have some calls being lined up. Rebecca in South Haven, hold on. We also got a couple more questions from the YouTube live stream. So we're rocking and rolling.
Okay, and I've got something I want to chat about a little while about marcescens and winter foliage. But meanwhile, I got an email from Peggy Matthews. Wanted to know, can she use chipped up dead pines as mulch? Had a pine tree die, had it ground down, can you use that as mulch? Absolutely can use it as mulch. No problem at all. Don't worry about pine beetles or anything. Falling down dead trees make good mulch. There. Anyway, we're going to be back. We'll take a real short break, and then we'll come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All right, folks, welcome back. Second hour of Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Let's start out by going, I think, to South Haven. Is that where Rebecca is?
That is correct.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning.
Hi, Felder.
Howdy.
Good morning. I've got a question about blueberries. I've got like 4 bushes, and it's the recommended varieties. It's 4 different varieties, and just not getting many blueberries. And I heard something about putting sulfur around them. I've never even seen sulfur for sale, and I'm wondering, when do you do it? Do you even need to do it, or what's what?
Really, really good question. Here's the deal. Blueberries naturally grow in acidic soils. I live out in northern England and have peat bogs, and blueberries are wild everywhere. You see them typically around acidic soils, under, near pines and stuff like that. And commercial blueberries, they add a little peat moss to the soil, which not only helps their roots, because they don't like real dirt. They like kind of a fluffy azalea type dirt. They don't have good, strong roots. They have fibrous things, just like an azalea. If the soil is not really acidic, they'll grow, but they don't absorb fertilizer very well. So sulfur, you know how if your soil is acid, we add lime to make it less acid. Or if you have an alkaline soil, you can add sulfur to make it more acidic. And you can buy this stuff called flowers of sulfur or just powdered sulfur through any garden supply company. Garden centers may have it. You can certainly get online, but it's called flowers of sulfur. Or you can get the liquid stuff they call soil acidifier, like they use around azaleas. Mix it with the water and just water around the roots. But the truth is, if you've got pretty good roots, if you dug nice wide holes and you mulch with something like bark, tree leaves or something, if you just give it a little bit of fertilizer every spring, usually the blueberries can overcome that problem unless you've got really alkaline soil. There's some areas over in East Mississippi, it's the old prairie belt, they've got really alkaline soil, outcroppings of limestone. Blueberries don't like that, but up in the Delta, North Delta, West Tennessee, soil is not usually too acidic. Like a little organic matter. So if you want to take a turning fork and work some peat moss out from the plants a little bit and mulch with some leaves, usually that's all you need. A little bit of fertilizer, and I wouldn't worry about making the soil more acidic, really. It's not a big deal unless you live in seriously alkaline soil, and that's not what we have up in South Haven.
So when is the best time of year to do that?
To do which? To add peat moss and stuff? You can do that anytime.
Yes.
I have a turning fork. It's like if you've got a cake and you stick a fork down in it so the juice. Anyway, the main thing is just dig some holes, wiggle it around, put some peat, just work some peat moss into the dirt, and again mulch. But if you didn't dig a really wide hole to begin with, go ahead and make the hole a little bit wider, and when you turn that dirt over, add a little bit of peat moss to it, and then mulch. Those are really the more important thing. Good root system is more important than whether the soil is too alkaline or not.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Also, keep in mind that we've had some bad weather. I lost my blueberries just to bad weather. I wrote the book, and I lost my blueberries to just bad weather. So, sometimes it's just, that's a problem also. They might just be weak from hot, dry summers and sudden hard freezes, that kind of thing, which is what even commercial blueberry growers have trouble with that.
All right. Yeah, all right.
Good luck on it, Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca, and I'll take some blueberry jam or something when it's ready.
Oh man, I love me some blueberries. They have wild blueberries all over this part of the country, and wild raspberries, wild blackberries, and wild cherries. Nobody eats them because they're so common. Whatever.
Now
but they can't grow a good fig.
Now before we got another cheesy tune break coming up in just a few minutes, but let's stay on the phone and talk with Robert in Natchez.
Okay. Hey, Robert, what's going on in Adams County?
Good morning, Felter. I met you one time at Dr. Barnes's garden in Natchez. I just had a comment about when you're trimming back old flowers, and I've been doing gardening since I was about 12. I always leave a couple of long hairs, and that brings the juices up to where you cut off. Where if you don't leave something long with green on it, you're liable to lose some of the bush.
Yeah, what kind of plant again?
Most anything, sweet olives, azaleas, camellias even. If you leave a couple of long hairs on the bush, it'll pull the juices up to where you cut off, and you won't lose as much branches.
Yeah, there's something to that. Leaves do pull moisture up a little bit, but also there's this turgor pressure that pushes up in. So you cut a plant slap off, and it may not do as well as what you say. But if you want to leave some long stuff, then you can go back later when the new stuff is sprouted and cut those back.
That's exactly what I do. And like I said, I'm 68, and I've been doing gardening since I was 12.
Yeah,
and I appreciate talking to you. And
I got to ask you, were you raised by older gardeners who made you garden when you didn't want to, like me?
No, my grandmother was a member of the Deluge Society. Dr. Barnes had 30,000 individual plantings in his yard, and over 300 orchids in his greenhouse.
I was raised with 350 different kinds of daffodils, so I understand those kind of folks. I was raised, and right now I've got 24 different kinds of mother-in-law tongue, different kinds of sansevieria. We can't help ourselves.
Well, I'm actually a chef by trade, but when I got to making more money doing gardening work on the weekend, I did that full time for the last 20-something years.
And being a chef is a lot more stressful than being a gardener.
You don't have nobody complain.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Okay, you have a blessed day.
Thank you. Raised old school job, man. I did stuff I did not want to do, and looking back, I'm glad of it.
That's how most childhoods are. In the moment, you don't want to, but when you get older, you appreciate that you did.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you say we got a little break coming up?
Yeah, it's about the halfway mark of this hour. So we go ahead and take our break. You are so kind to send another cheesy tune, so we'll do that.
This is called the Vegetable Blues. Please don't make me eat those collards.
And then we have some YouTube questions. So also the phone lines are still open. 1-877-672-7464. 1-877 MPB ring.
And I still want to talk about this stuff, so let's take a break and come out with more of the Gestalt Gardener, folks. Glad to be here. Thank you for joining us. So, Java, take us away.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Into hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcast. We appreciate you joining us. And sometimes people are not going to be here for the 2 hours. Whenever you jump in or jump out, if you think you missed something, be sure to go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener. You can watch the whole thing or fast forward through our bad jokes or whatever. Or go to Mississippi Public, mpbonline.org, and just check out the podcast anytime you want. Java, speaking of the podcast, did we get a couple of people sent questions from the live stream?
Yeah, we got a couple of questions from the YouTube chat. That's always open if you want to drop your question. And if you think about it, you can drop your question in, and even if you can't stick around, you just come back to the YouTube later, and we'll answer it. Just like this question. Let's see, we got Just Gemini. I don't know. Did I ask this question about wild plums?
Nope.
Okay, here we go. I have a ton of wild plum or Cherokee plum. It produces super small fruits with hardly any flesh. They also fall off while still green. Any advice is appreciated.
That's a good question. If they're shedding early, they may not have gotten really good. And these are self-fertile. So if you don't have a lot of bees, they may not be maturing because they didn't get complete fertilization. Also, if they get real thick, they tend to, the branches, commercial growers know if you thin some branches out, then what's left gets all the energy to what you cut off. You can have a tree that's got 10 branches and a tree that's got 5 branches. The ones with 5 branches are going to have bigger fruit. And it's just a physiology thing. Other than that, unless they're too thick, if you thin them out, make sure they got plenty of little room to grow. They make thickets the way they grow. If you'll thin some of them out and then at least every 3 or 4 years scatter a little bit of fertilizer under there, that helps a lot. But I think mostly if you'll just prune them, thin them out, you'll get a lot better fruit production. But the wild plums along the roadside called Chickasaw plums, they're self-fertile, so that shouldn't be a problem. I'm just thinking they're too thick.
Okay. Well, Gemini, hopefully that helped you out. Let's go to another question from the YouTube chat. This is Kelly. And my grandparents used to grow potatoes in abundance, but I never get a large crop of potatoes. What am I doing wrong? Do I need to test my soil?
Oh, that's a good question. It is a good idea to have if you're trying to grow stuff, really production oriented. It is a good idea to have your soil test at least 5 or 6 years, 10 years or so, just to get a base idea. Your soil may be so acidic that you need a little bit of lime. It doesn't take much, and it lasts for 3 or 4 years. So if you'll have your soil tested by the Extension Service, I know they charge for it, but if you'll do it every 10 years or so, that's good. See if you need some lime. You could also be over-fertilizing. Fertilizer tends to build up. Commercial pecan growers and soybean growers and potato growers, they don't fertilize heavy every year. They use very sparing fertilizer. It's real easy to over-fertilize. It gives you all plant and not as much potato. Also, it's really important as potato grows to hill dirt up to them, because potatoes form on the stem above what you planted. So your grandparents planted kind of low, and as the potato plants grew, they piled dirt up to them, and that's where the potatoes grow. They didn't use a lot of fertilizer either. So I'm thinking you may need some lime, which lasts 3 or 4 years. You may need to mound dirt or pile mulch up around them. May need to hold back on the fertilizer. Those are my educated guesses.
Okay. Do you think it would matter where she is located in the state? I thought about that as I was reading the question.
No, and another thing to keep in mind, potatoes don't like growing in Mississippi. We grow them here, but they don't like it. They would rather be planted when the ground is cool, not cold. They'd not like a long 3 or 4 month growing spell when it doesn't get too hot. So it's a race with potatoes here in the South to plant them late enough so they don't rot in cold soils, but early enough so they have a chance to produce before it gets too hot. They'd rather grow up in Nebraska or Idaho or someplace long, cool growing season. So try not to plant too early. Go in and cut your pieces up, let them sprout, and it's called chitting. If you'll go ahead and get them sprouted ahead of time, and wait till early of March or so before you plant. They'll grow better when the ground's not quite as cold and wet. Still have plenty of time to produce before it gets too hot. And again, be sure to, as they grow, pile dirt up to them, just keeping the top showing for 6 or 8 inches, maybe a foot deep.
All right. Now, before we go back to the phone lines, because we do have some phone calls being lined up, one more question from the YouTube chat, and this is from Jeremy, and tips on planting. Oh, this is I'm a softball you one, Felder. Tips on planting daffodil bulbs. Fertilizer, ? How deep, ? Give me all you got.
Okay, first of all, if you don't have them already, let's wait till next fall. Don't go out and buy some. My rule of thumb for planting any kind of bulb is twice as deep as you are big around. Plant the big ones 4, 5, 6 inches deep. Plant the little ones 2 or 3 inches deep. So, 2 or 3 times deep as they are big around. That's just a general rule of thumb. They like to be fertilized a little bit to get them started. And from then on, you only fertilize in the fall because that's when they start growing. So if you wait till spring to fertilize them, that can actually cause bulb rot. So as long as they get at least half a day of sunshine, they need sunshine. And as long as you don't plant them too deep and give them a little fertilizer, that's about all it is to it. Just keep in mind that only a few daffodils will come back and bloom year after year after year. My great-grandmother grew 350. There's only about 2 dozen that bloom year after year after year. So not all daffodils are created equal. And if you like a list of the daffodils that do really, really well in Mississippi and tips on how to plant them and some other kind of plants, shoot me an email. Just go to my blog, felderrushing.blog, and I'll send you my list of Mississippi quality daffodils that do really, really well here. But keep in mind, they don't all bloom. You can plant 100 different daffodils and come back 20 years later, there's only 4 of them that are still blooming, and I know their names. There.
Hopefully that helped out, Jeremy. I did like your first tip. If you don't have your bulbs already, just wait till next fall.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, they're on sale, but as long as you understand, if you're getting some now and plant them, they will bloom. They've already got their flower bud for this year, but you can pretty well forget about them after that. So they're one-shot beauties this time of year. So,
Okay.
hey, before we go to the calls, we got time to talk about my little pub talk thing, or you want to wait?
Pat from Fairhope has been hanging on, and after the call, we'll get to your pub talk.
I loves me some Fairhope. What's going on, Pat?
Well, I have a blueberry tree or bush. I guess you'd call it a tree because it's 9 feet tall. But
they're big.
It is big, and it's old. I've lived in my house 30-something years, and the people that owned the property before me used to have me come out and pick if I wanted to. So I'm sure it's 45, 50 years old. But there are a lot of shoots that come up from it, and I would love to be able to take those shoots and, plant them elsewhere, because this is kind of up under an oak tree, and things like they don't get enough sun, but I shouldn't complain because I have a great crop most years. Will the shoots do something, or should I just forget it?
Oh, No, this is how blueberries do. You usually don't have the same plant you plant. They usually replace themselves with what we call suckers that come up from the ground. This is how the plants replace themselves over time. You can take those suckers, dig them up, but make sure you get a piece that got some roots on it, and then transplant them to another place. I would cut them back to about a foot or foot and a half tall when you do that, so that they branch out this year and make little bushes for next year with more berries. In other words, don't just move some whips from time to time. And I'd go ahead and work the dirt up where you're going to plant them pretty soon. Get your little peat moss, real peat moss, and dig it into your dirt, nice wide hole, maybe 2 feet across. And then sometime a little bit later, you can go ahead and dig some of those up, cut them back, and replant them. They should do fine.
Well, what about, should I put them in full sun? I think at one point in time the big bush was in full sun, but
Well, they produce best in full sun. Naturally, they grow out, in light woods, but they do best in full sun. But again, they need a wide hole and they need some mulch. So dig a wide hole, add some peat moss, and then cover it up with leaves or bark or something like that, to keep the ground cool and moist. And they'll do fine in the full sun.
Okay.
Commercial blueberry growers grow them out in full sun, but they always cut their plants back to about a foot tall when they set them out, so they branch out more berries the next year.
Okay. All right. So no matter how tall they are, cut them back to about a foot and a half.
That's
what
right.
About watering early on?
Well, so that means you're not going to get the biggest ones to begin with. Just get some good, healthy ones and come back. They'll bush out and be a whole lot sturdier and healthier if you do. There's no commercial grower on earth who would not do that. It ain't a hurting their feelings type of thing. It actually helps them produce
Keep their
better.
overhead low, huh?
Yep.
Well, and what about watering? That's the only other thing.
If you've got a mulch, a good deep soaking every, I'm going to say week or two. If it's 100 degrees and hadn't rained every week or two. But if you dig a nice wide hole, add some peat moss and mulch them, they're not going to need water more than every week or two at the most.
Week or two. Okay. Good deal.
All right. Appreciate you calling.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Hey, John, before we go to the next calls, can I mention something about something we were talking about at the pub lately? My little pub talk thing.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
We always do. People, what do you guys talk about? Well, we don't talk about much, and it's really not important. But somebody's pointing to, do we need to rake our leaves or not? I just leave mine on the grass. Well, it's good to run the mower over because that chops them up, doesn't smother the grass. But then somebody said, what about these trees that keep their leaves on them all winter, like this one? We see things like some Japanese maples and oak trees and beech trees. They hold their leaves all winter. They said, why don't they drop them off? And there's actually a scientific word for that. It's called marcescence. Marcescence. When in the fall, when the days get shorter and cooler, trees tend to stop sending energy to the leaves and food and all, and the leaves start sealing off and they shed. But some keep their leaves on all winter. We're not exactly sure why. Some people think it's because some plants like to drop their leaves in the spring so it gives them fresh mulch. Rather than, some people say it's to keep deer from browsing them because deer don't like to eat dry leaves and that protects the buds. There's all sorts of theories. But the bottom line is this is something called marcescence, and it's okay. It's okay. But I wanted to mention this. I had a lady who wrote a thing to Mississippi Gardening. She had 3 magnolia trees in a row, 2 big ones and a little one in the middle. She wanted to know, can I prune them so they're all the same size? I'm thinking, yeah, you could, but they're never going to be the same size. Trying to keep all these plants looking alike, it's not practical. But she had these 3 spaced out trees. I said, why don't you put something else in between them so it doesn't look like they're supposed to be alike? In other words, make a mixed hedge. It's called a tredge, a tree hedge. Instead of all magnolia or all this or all that, mix stuff up. And she wanted to know what to do. Here's what I came up with. Let me get this. Let me see.
Can you get it? You got it?
I got it. This is not you can't see because.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of.
Is it?
No, you have to pull it way back from the camera.
Okay. This didn't work. We'll have to do this next. Basically, I've got a big leaf. Maybe I do 1 leaf at a time. You can see.
It's green. It's green. It's so green on the green.
Okay, got a big leaf, and then got some little skinny leaves.
Okay. You camouflage now.
This ain't working. I'm gonna have to. Anyway, I'll have a picture next week. If you got trees that's got big green leaves like a magnolia, put something in between that's got smaller leaves like a cedar. They're both evergreen. They both get about the same size, but they're different shapes. You got the slick, big, wide magnolia leaves. Got the more blue-green cedar trees, and they work together better than all the same thing. Then you can start adding other things like a red-tip photinia that's got red leaves or variegated. But the main thing is mixing different kind of trees and shrubs up. You have more interest, more seasons, more effect. Less likely that one of them's going to look bigger than the other one. Okay, John, I just learned something, didn't I?
You did the hard way.
Okay, wait till next week. I'll put these. I'll show you a picture next week of what I'm talking about. Main thing is mix things, big leaves or little leaves, different colored leaves if you want to, and if you want to throw some of the flowers in, that's better. But meanwhile, don't worry about trees that drop their leaves. Don't drop the leaves. That's kind of normal. I really blew that one.
No, it was okay, man. This is, as always, a learning experience. And then next week we get the pictures.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a medical doctor screwing stuff up.
See, it's levels. There are levels.
You want to do this, or this. Well, we can't see it. Oops. Anyway, do we have any phone calls to bail me out?
Yeah, before we take another quick break, let's talk with Sandra in Florence, and I think she wants to talk about roses.
Hey, Sandra, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Felder, I'm fine. I have a rose that I love. It's pink, and it has a delicious smell, and I don't remember the name of it. But it roots real well. I cut some off last year and put one in a pot, and it grew and had roses. It didn't grow very much in that small pot, but right. When can I put it in the ground?
Is it inside or is it outdoors?
Oh, it's out.
Okay, you can plant it anytime you can dig a good hole, but if you're going to put it there, want it to be there a long time, I sound like a broken record, but always dig a hole bigger than you think is normal. If you don't feel like if you don't feel like you've messed up, it ain't big enough. So dig a nice big hole, add a little stuff to it and go ahead and plant it, and then you can mulch around it, and that'll protect it. Just water it real good. And maybe this first year, plant you some little flower, plant some daffodils next fall, plant stuff around it so you don't just have just that one little sprig in that big hole.
Oh, well, it's gotten pretty big, but yeah.
Well, you probably need to prune it. You prune roses back anyway, even though it's a young plant. I would still prune it back because when you transplant things, that's a shock to the roots. If you cut the top back, it'll take the stress off the root, and it will cause it to bush out, better balance with the roots. So even though it's a small plant, I would still prune it back a little bit. Okay. But again, if you put some flowers around it, water those flowers all summer, that's more than enough for the rose too.
Oh, that sounds good. I may do that. Another thing, this time of the year, I know it's too early to cut them back, but my roses start putting on new growth. And I hate to cut off that new growth when I'm cutting them back. Do you just cut it all off?
This is perfectly okay to do that. I mean, when you prune a rose, whether it had new growth or not, you're going to cut that part off anyway. And a lot of times roses, hydrangeas, they branch out, they start bushing out early up high. A lot of times those get frozen in that last freeze. If you cut them back, that only puts the plant back a little bit, and they will put out new growth that'll be sturdier and a little bit later, so less likely to get frozen. So, don't let those buds soften your heart. You got to prune them anyway.
That's what they do. They soften my heart.
Yeah, I understand, but I've been pruning for so long. It's just like cutting the grass. It doesn't hurt it comes right back. Well, roses, except not climbing roses, not those big shrub roses, but most roses, if you cut them back a third, a halfway, even 2/3, they come back stronger than ever on time.
Yeah, good. Well, that's what I'll do.
All righty. Well, I appreciate your call. Good luck on it.
Thank you so much.
And hey, Java, can we show one more picture that's sort of related to what I had earlier?
Are you talking about the ghost pipe?
Oh yeah. Somebody want to know about. They said the ghost pipe fungus is blooming. It's sort of like a mushroom. It grows on the roots of blueberry type plants.
Okay, I'm about to zap them over to Abram.
Okay, while we're doing that, I also found a plant. Here we go. I hope this shows up. I can't tell if it is or not.
Yeah, it's showing up. It's the green ones.
Look at these red twigs.
I see. Yeah, I see them. Are they in a pot?
No, I'm holding them in my hand.
Oh, some stuff you found on the ground.
Yeah, no, I went out and stole the cuttings so I could talk about them today. This is called a red twig dogwood. And somebody wrote about it on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook. Red twig is a type of dogwood. It's more of a spreading ground cover low shrub. It's not a tree, and it's native further north, but it's native to the northeast United States. Red twig dogwood, you cut them to the ground every year. They put up all the new growth is just as red as it can be, just like a bunch of red stuff. And somebody had one that didn't have the red on it because you need to cut them back. It's only the new growth that turns red. The reason I wanted to mention that because I had one of the pictures I sent. I think it's picture number 14 is what red twig dogwood looks like when it's been pruned back every year. Can they do that or the ghost pipe first?
No, we can do that. I see the red twig because it's with the yucca.
Yucca. Yeah, that's a variegated yucca. This is what red twig. It's a dogwood. It's what it looks like if you cut it back every spring. The new growth comes up just as red as it can be. Cool plant. They don't sell it in garden centers because it doesn't look like much in a pot, but it's a great plant for winter color. This picture I took in the middle of the winter show you what you can have.
That's what I was going to ask. Where did you take this picture? Because you have the yucca, you can see the red dogwood, you have some bright oranges in the picture.
I took that picture at the Atlanta Botanical Garden, but it can look just like I grow that yucca, the variegated yucca, in my own garden in Jackson. I just want to show you can have neat looking stuff in the winter if you just choose the right stuff. But red twig dogwood, hard to find commercially, but and it roots like ringing the bells. Cut them back every year, root to cuttings.
Now I think we got the ghost pipe, and it's funny that it was mentioned in the YouTube chat, and you were like, "I have those pictures. I've taken pictures of ghost pipes."
Yeah, I took this picture up near Oxford 2 falls ago. This is a native fungus. It's like a mushroom. You can almost see through it, and it's called ghost pipe. It's just one of those oddball little fungi out there that people just don't think about because they're not a marigold, I guess.
Yeah, and it has that kind of, you can, like you said, you can see through it. Has a little pink stem or interior or whatever. It's a pretty looking thing, but it's a fungus.
Well, folks who are not on YouTube and can't see this, if you just go look up ghost pipe fungus, it's really amazing. It grows all over Mississippi. Just nobody ever sees it because it's out in the woods.
Yeah.
So what else we got? We're almost at the end of this program.
We are, man. We made it through, but let's go back to the YouTube chat because let's see. We had another question come through from Rita, and it says, "Good morning. I have a gardenia about knee-high. Do I need to cover it with a large nursery pot or leave it? This gardenia has blooms the size of a coffee saucer. Thank you."
Did she say what part of the state she lives in?
No, she didn't. She didn't say.
Okay, up north, North Mississippi, she might want to cover it up just during a really hard freeze, down to low 20 or below 20. Otherwise, they can usually take the cold. What I would do is I'd give it a good, if she didn't get any rain last weekend, I'd give it a really good soaking, maybe pull some bark up to it, but I would only cover it up if it's up in north third of the Mississippi, and we get a sudden really deep hard freeze. Other than that, they do fine.
Okay. She's still in the chat. Northwest Mississippi. That's where Rita is.
Sound like Delta to me. I'd cover it up in Delta. Give it a good soaking, and only if it's going to get down close to 20 or so, I'd cover it up just overnight. But uncover it, when the sun comes back out. It should do fine.
Okay. And we did have an email come through, our email address, garden@mpbonline.org. And this is Ann, Ann is in Ballardsville, which is the Lee/Itawamba County line. And she wanted you to know that the ice follies are just about to bloom. And her mahoney is, and one day I'll learn these words, is presently blooming just beautifully.
Good. Ice follies happen to be the one I've been growing here.
Okay.
No, ice folly is white. I'm sorry, it's white with a little yellow cup. Ice follies is a really good hardy daffodil from Mississippi. We got a couple of dozen. And again, if anybody wants my list, shoot us an email or go to my blog, felderrushing.blog, or Mississippi Gardening Facebook. I got a list of daffodils that will come back for 100 years or more with no care at all. Plant them once and you're done with it. So, we covered a lot of ground today, Java.
No, we really did. And we kind of settled down. We were really excited. We both acknowledged that we were excited last week. And today was, pretty chill. We made it through the 2 hours. We played our 2 cheesy tunes. Also, for my people on broadcast, if you are able to go to the YouTube channel, you can see a little extra that we did, YouTube only or YouTube exclusive, where Felder
2 hours.
Yeah, where Felder kind of just talked to the YouTube audience. It didn't make it over the air, so check that out.
Yeah, and we'll settle down even more. This 2 hours is real interesting, and I've got some folks I want to interview, some really interesting people, talking about everything from spiders to the best kind of tomatoes to feng shui in the garden. There's all sorts of things we're going to talk with real experts about, medical stuff, food stuff, all that here on the Gestalt Gardener. So we'll settle down, we'll relax a little bit. I found out that I can't show lots of plants. If I hold it up,
I think it's the green ones. We gotta figure that out.
Okay, I get it. Green ones don't show up because I got a green screen. Okay, well, anyway, thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Take a kid to a garden center, show them how to do what we do best, and that's get dirty.